guys, it's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. That's right, back on the grind, and Bitcoin has surprised us with a beautiful green day. In fact, we started to dip overnight. We got all the way down to $5,843, and we did have a beautiful bounce back. So this is short-term, pretty positive news, right? We are going to dive in and look at it because currently there is some very mixed sentiment right now going on in the crypto space. I'm seeing some people say, nah, this is just a fake out. We're definitely going down to these lower levels. Some saying we're going to retest the $3,800 level. You've seen some Bitcoin bulls turn Bitcoin bears. Not only that, but the community as a whole. You've seen Twitter accounts drop off, YouTubers stop making videos. So I kind of want to address some of that today as well. I also, of course, do want to talk about the $6.2 trillion stimulus package and how that's going to affect things like, stocks and, of course, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. And finally, I want to talk about how blockchain technology, in my opinion, is definitely here to stay. And I'm going to show you a few examples as to why there are still a few reasons out there to be very bullish, or at least positive, for blockchain and even Bitcoin in the future coming times. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, well, do consider it. Thank you so much. And without further ado, let's dive straight in. However, not gonna lie, it kind of feels like this right now, right? It's a little scary. We keep seeing these lower levels. Now, short term, Bitcoin has been putting in a higher low, which is good. You could see right here, this, for example, right here, this was actually technically a higher low than right here. However, the actual solid candles are still at around the $5,800 level. Now, actually, in the last video we put out, we talked about this level specifically, and that's exactly where we had the bounce. We are still currently under the original trend, though. We do need to get back above this, right? Now, we were saying that this right here kind of looked a lot like that up there. Well, we know what happened when we got to the end of that channel. We had a massive dump right here. So if we have a look, I expanded this down. Basically, this was up here. We fell out of the channel. So maybe what we're putting in is just a gigantic sort of upper, some people are saying it's a, bear flag. This could be the heart line. So looking at these levels right now, we would look for that sort of resistance again at around the 6.5K level. Now you can see right here, we did break back above the line, but we haven't really had a very strong move with tons of volume, right? We are still above it over here, having a look over at the Bitfinex. Now, one thing that some people are pointing out is the fact that we have put in a new CME futures gap over the weekend. In order to close that gap, that would be around $6,615. So we could potentially see Bitcoin get back up to that level, but it may not stay there, okay? Just because, we go to 6,615 doesn't mean that means we're going to blast right through it. I've seen us just close the gap and then instantly wick back down and continue in the same direction. So I do want you to be careful. It could be a good opportunity to potentially trade, not financial advice. You may be able to, get a nice trade in on there, but just be careful because I have seen these play out very quick and then continue in the same direction, which currently right now we do have a pretty strong downtrend, right? The good news, there is positive news. We are still above the 200 weekly, which is still sort of around the 5,000. It's almost at like $5,600 right now, but we do have this 21 exponential coming down here. Now, at some point, these two lines are going to meet. I don't know exactly where, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on Bitcoin, and it's going to have to make a decision very quick, and it's probably going to be a very big move. We do have some time for that, though. No need to freak out. This is the weekly chart. Probably have another month or so until we see that happen. But just keep in mind that right now the 21 exponential is sitting at around actually the same level we've been talking about, pretty much the $7,800 level, which I've said for the past 3 videos now, that is my personal level that we need to get back above for me to be like hardcore bullish again for Bitcoin. Until then, you're just kind of jumping around in these choppy waters. Now, if we have a look at what Philb said, keep in mind, he had a really great analysis for his 12-month forecast, right? He's calling for retesting down here again at around the 3.8K level, before then having a bounce back up to the 7.2K. So we could see some very volatile moves, some kind of depressing moves short term for Bitcoin leading into the halving. So the question is, for the next month and a half, do you have strong enough hands? You know, that is the question right now. I've seen a lot of people saying they're selling their Bitcoin right now. You know, some need it because they're obviously dealing with the virus and the situation at hand. You know, people do need money to pay their rent, pay their bills. You can see right here, Peter Brandt, he's one of the legendary traders. Lots of people respect him. You know, he says U.S. Congress is in a time capsule sent from 1930s. Price action last Friday was notes were headed to negative rates. Gold, look out above. Stocks, pathetic. And somebody actually said, what about Bitcoin? He said, for Bitcoin, this is the perfect storm. If Bitcoin cannot rally on this, crypto is in big trouble. And I do think that this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. This is sort of the time for Bitcoin to shine, right? This is what everyone's been preaching. This is what all the Bitcoin maximalists have said. This is what I've been reading. You know, I've been in crypto for over 3 years. This is the narrative. We're waiting for this to play out. So it's very important to see what Bitcoin does, especially leading into the end of this year through the halving, in a downtrend, and during a pandemic. This is literally what, and during a financial, economic situation like we're having right now. Now, for example, we also do have Tone Vays. You guys may know Tone Vays probably, right? Now, he said in his latest episode that he has repeated his previous claim that Bitcoin should bottom at 20% of its 2019 high. His level was $2,800. However, he just came out and said, I don't think it's likely anymore. He said that after March 12th, when Bitcoin bounced off the 15-month low at around $3,700, he now thinks that we will not put in any more lower lows. He says because of the incident, he thinks that was close enough to the $2,800 level, so he's no longer expecting it. Now, he does say it's very possible. Keep in mind that BitMEX crashed. He said if it didn't crash, he thinks that we could have actually seen those levels happen already. But because we already had that wick, that crazy wick down to 3,800, he does say that that is the bottom. Now, having a look at the last 3 months, this is from Sentiment. So this is essentially the Bitcoin sentiment, negative versus positive versus price. And you can actually see right here, interestingly enough, that they basically say Twitter, at least according to them and their social graphs, are saying that there's positive sentiment, at least on Twitter. Maybe this is because it's only the diehards that are really left after the shakeout, or maybe people are just becoming optimistic with everything that's going on globally right now. Now, just to kind of point out what's been happening, essentially in just 1 week, the U.S. Federal Reserve printed $586 billion, setting a new all-time high record for its balance sheet. And yes, you read that right. To put that into perspective, the Federal Reserve is essentially printing about $1 million every second. That's pretty incredible when you break it down. In fact, we look at the historic $6.2 trillion stimulus package right now, which is aiming to help individuals and businesses in need. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, let me just play this clip super quick to refresh your mind.
The beautiful thing about our country is 6.2 trillion, because it is 2.2 plus 4. It's $6.2 trillion, and we can handle that easily because of who we are, what we are. It's our money. We are the ones. It's our currency. We can handle it.
But Dan Moorhead, the CEO of Pantera Capital, now you might be familiar with these guys. They actually led a lot of really good investments in some of the altcoins that did very, very well in the 2017 boom, right? Basically, he says that the Bitcoin price is set to surge during this economic crisis. In fact, Moorhead predicts that Bitcoin price could reach an all-time high within 12 months. Now, a lot of people were thinking we were going to reach highs this year. I was one of those people. We were not expecting this virus to hit, and we were not expecting this crazy lockdown and shutdown and printing of, crazy amounts of dollars like we're seeing today. I think it kind of changes the picture a little bit. Long term, you guys know I am a Bitcoin bull. Short term, people need money to pay bills. It's basically that simple, right? It's difficult to speculate on an asset that moves 50 to 80%, fluctuates within a month, and, you got to worry about paying your rent, right? So obviously we know that the Great Recession of 2008 was what basically created Bitcoin in the first place? Well, Dan Morehead thinks that the second financial crisis basically is Bitcoin's time to shine, kind of like what I just said before. A major thrust of his argument is the massive monetary expansion also happening in fiat currency right now. So basically, as governments increase the quantity of paper money, it takes more pieces of paper, literally, to buy things that have fixed quantities like stocks, real estate, and of course, Bitcoin, right? So we basically have this situation where he says now that we're in the trillions, the deficit just simply has to have a positive impact on the price of things not quantitatively easable, stocks, real estate, etc., obviously Bitcoin, but he does take it a step further and predicts an all-time high within 12 months. He expects a massive wave of institutional money coming into things like I said, gold, Bitcoin, and cryptos. Now, to quote him, he says, the price of Bitcoin may set a new record in the next 12 months. It's not going to happen overnight. He says his best guess is that it's going to take institutions about 2 to 3 months to basically adjust their current portfolios, another 3 to 6 months to research new opportunities like distressed debt, special situations, crypto, etc. Then as they begin to make allocations, those markets will really begin to rise. Institutional investors did see the value of Bitcoin during the crisis over the last few weeks. However, while Wall Street was tripping circuit breakers essentially left and right, Bitcoin was actually incredibly pretty liquid, and we did have a nice overall bounce back from the crazy dip. I mean, this still is an uptrend no matter how you look at it, right? Essentially, like Mojo Crypto said, what will happen next is they'll mandate all purchases to be paperless in the name of public safety. They need to print anything and all transactions will be traceable. RIP fungibility, long private coins, quantitative easing, Fed money printer, go burr crypto. So let me know what you guys think about that, but that is essentially the situation at hand. Now, let me get into some other news of the day, and then there's some stuff at the end you guys might want to stick around for just to hear about that. But essentially, the big news is Binance is delisting their leveraged assets tied to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and EOS. These are the bull bear tokens. Getting a lot of mixed signals about this. They're saying we will credit your Binance account with the equivalent value held in leveraged tokens at the time of delisting in Binance US dollars within 14 days. They say take action because they took the action because users are simply too confused as to how leveraged tokens work. So basically you can move these tokens to other exchanges that are accepting them. Binance these are the FTX tokens, right? But yeah, Wellpool's kind of poking some jabs at them, saying, "Dear Binance, please, sir, I bought BNB at $35 and now it's $10. I lose 70% of value. I do not understand BNB. Please delist it from Binance to protect your users. Thank you." So basically, in a nutshell, cryptos are risky. Leveraged trading tokens are risky. Trading is risky in general. I think people know their risks, but some people are actually really pissed about this. For example, Anthony says, "This is BS. I just had to sell at a loss because of this crap. Come on, the community can read. Educate them. Don't delist them." You have Bit2 saying, "This makes me lose $100,000 US. I told when EOS listing that all bull and bear not work proper, but Binance admin and customer care not take it seriously. Now they stole millions of dollars." CZ responded, said they're not designed for long-term holding. They devalue over time when markets, underlying assets fluctuate back and forth. Let me know, guys, if this is a situation that you got affected by. Personally, I was never a fan of these tokens. I don't really like these FTX tokens, these bull, bear, bomb X type tokens. For me personally, it's just too risky. There's not enough liquidity in these tokens. So I don't know. My opinion is I just stay away from them. You guys do what you want. If you want to trade that, you guys can continue to do that. Personally, for me, I just keep it really simple over at something like ByBit, using for example, just Bitcoin. I mean, even trading Ethereum and these other tokens is very risky. I mean, Bitcoin itself really isn't that liquid compared to traditional stocks, but it is the most liquid of all cryptos, and it is best to sort of master, one asset before trying to do these other ones. But hey, to each his own. Whatever you guys do, that's totally up to you. You guys know, if you want, I do have a tutorial for ByBit popping up above. You guys can check that out if you're interested. But moving on, I do want to talk about why I believe blockchain technology is here to stay. And Bitcoin specifically, I think, will be around for a long time, despite potentially having some difficulties in the short term. One thing being the fact that you could see Samsung, obviously in their latest 5G enabled fabled Galaxy range smartphones, the S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra, they all have built-in crypto wallets that can basically host Bitcoin and I'm not sure. I think it's Ethereum as well, right? I don't own a Samsung. I have an Apple. But yeah, I mean, basically that is something. And also yesterday we saw Microsoft looking to do crypto mining for like ads using your mind and your brainwaves. Crazy, crazy stuff moving forward, guys. Also, I just wanted to mention that we had spoke about this the other day about basically Vitalik saying we should put resources towards a proper trustless, serverless, maximally Uniswap user experience. I completely forgot to mention Komodo. You can see they say it's already possible with their atomic DEX. So if you guys haven't checked it out, we've actually spoken about Komodo, not so much recently on the channel, but I'm obviously a fan of Komodo. I've always liked what these guys are doing. You could now make P2P swaps from ETH or ERC tokens directly to Bitcoin or a number of different Bitcoin protocol coins. Yeah, PTYX, he actually dropped this down here, Atomic Swaps Explained. So if you guys are interested, I will drop this below if you guys are interested in maybe doing something like that. So sorry, forgot to mention that, but glad to sort of retouch that topic today. And kind of on a little bit of a controversial topic, I didn't really know if I wanted to bring this up, but I felt like I should just say something. So a lot of people are a little upset about this Roger Ver tweet. If you are worried about the virus, you should self-isolate, leave the rest of us alone. You can see this is basically he's comparing it to seasonal flu, malaria, these other things, saying, hey, it's not that big of a deal. Well, first of all, this says 21,000. This is wrong because you could see that it is actually higher than that. And I will tell you personally, look, I live in New York right now. We have the highest amount of cases. It is serious. The people in my hometown have it. So regardless of whether or not, you want to believe these people saying it's a conspiracy, it's this or that, I'm not going to get into that today. But what I am going to get into is this is real. This is new. Yes, of course, 5 years from now, it'll just be another common cold. But right now, it is a very strong strain. It is affecting a lot of people. And even some people out there that are saying, oh, well, it's only 1%. Well, guys, there's 7.8 trillion people in the world. 1% of that is 78 million people. And if that was even the death rate, I don't want to see 78 million people die. I don't know about you. So, what we can do right now is practice these safe guidelines, do the social distancing, wear, gloves when you go out. If you want to wear a protective mask, definitely do that. Wash your hands and only go out when you have to and try to avoid, crowded public places, because even if you're a healthy individual who's totally asymptomatic, you could still potentially give it to somebody else. And that's just, it's very irresponsible. So that's kind of like my take on it. I don't want to get political or I'm not a doctor, but my take on it is better to be safe than sorry. That's kind of how I've always played things. So let me know what you guys think about that. Moving forward, here's actually a thing, run, Godzilla's attacking the city. Relax, he's only killed 4,000 people. The flu kills 25,000 every year. You see that kind of logic? But anyway, guys, it's kind of a weird topic to end today's video on, but I just had to jump in and say something. Some people are not taking it seriously. You kind of have to take it seriously, especially when you are, I'm telling you, it's in my town, guys. It's in my local town. I have seen it myself. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. I know, kind of a weird topic to end on the end of the day. You know what? If you made it this far, let me know what you think about Bitcoin cryptocurrency, what you think about a lot of these Twitter accounts, BitLord mysteriously disappearing. You have lots of other accounts shutting down, YouTubers not making videos anymore. The sentiment, kind of not that great. We have had this bounce back, but the question is, how long can it last? So basically, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You are the reason that I do this every single day. Definitely be safe out there. Do not risk more than you can afford to lose. And as far as the situation going on worldwide, just please be safe out there, guys. Please, please be safe. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.